Alright guys, welcome to the very first episode of Thursday Night Takeaway. We've gone through our pre-season, our trials, and now this is our debut. So joining me tonight is Tom from Hello Sport Podcast. Hello Tom. Below me is Aaron from The Unsportsman. Aaron. Oh, very good, mate. Very good. And to the bottom right is Elliot at LL Cool Joy. How are you, mate?
Welcome to the very first episode of...
Yeah, very good. Thanks, mate. Sorry, just turn that sound down. So what we're doing tonight is just going over some of the latest happenings in rugby league. We'll be doing this every Thursday during the second half of Thursday night footy. I'll be joined by Aaron, Tom, and Elliot every Thursday, and we're just going to go through some topics, have a bit of banter, talk some shit, and have some fun. So, boys, you ready to go? Rightio. So, first up, there's been a fair bit happening in rugby league this week alone, not just the pre-season. But I want to start. I have a little bit of a tribute for one of my fellow pages that went down in the last couple of days. I'm sure you've all heard of it, NRL Memes. Unfortunately, bit the dust yesterday, unfortunately. And I got a little bit of a poem I just wrote. So, and this is the first time these guys have heard it too. So, bear with me. I'm not a maestro. This is my ode to NRL Memes. There once was a page called NRL Memes, which has disappeared now it seems. You pissed off MG, that was a fail. And now you're probably off to jail. So here, have a tub of Vaseline. I could probably... I stayed up very late for that one. That it took a whole 30 seconds, I think. So I did it. Nah. I think we should all chip in and get him an extra tub of Vaseline. I think he'll need it. So someone actually pointed out Foyd and Masood going into business together. So, well, I shouldn't. Yeah, I shouldn't say his name, should I? Yeah, true. He's just basically a germ to everyone. So, like, you know, Tom, you were going to ask about sort of my page and the differences between it. Is look, all this stuff that's recently happened. So I think I made a Sex Panther from Anchorman, which was probably the only joke I sort of made about that. I don't reference. I try not to reference the players unless they've been named. And in doing so, I try and just not bring attention to that specific person. Just bring attention to that specific event. And look, I've been pulled up fucking numerous times, like, oh, this joke's no good, or that's terrible. I'll take it down and I'll post an apology. I'm not scared, like, to post an apology. It doesn't, mate. If you can admit when you've done wrong, then I think that sort of levels it out. I've had players like a lot of players inbox me, especially on Instagram. That's where they're mostly on. I don't think they're on Facebook. Like, a lot of them won't sort of comment on public pages on Facebook. And Twitter sort of is a bit off, but they'll tag everyone in on Instagram, so we get a lot of feedback from them on Instagram. A lot of them love it. They love the banner. It's, you know, have a look at this. They're tagging all their other players in. I had Sean Johnson the other day when I posted the sponsor thing with Stupid and Wade Graham, and he had a little bit of a dig at me, like, but yeah. He just, I think he just said, like, oh, you're only roasting yourself with memes like this, and it was a dumb meme, but. And then all the other people jumped on his side and agreed with him. But they fire back. It's fair game. Oh, fantastic. Great start to the show. All right, guys, I'm just going to get their audio fixed up.
Good job.
One job and I fuck it up. All right, boys, have a chat. There we go. I think we got you back there now.
We on now?
Yeah. So let's you want to start again?
Yeah,
they heard
again.
my joke. That's fine. Look, boys, what the guys were asking me, that's awesome, right? I went to check that, and the audio come up, and I was like, shit, shut it down. They don't want to hear that. Anyway, what the boys were asking me was some of the beef between other pages like myself and NRL memes, and the difference between theirs and ours. Someone's got us. I've got a bit of feedback from someone there now.
Yeah, I'll take responsibility for that. Keep
going. And I explained my bit, but that's what the guys were asking me about. Like, what do the players say about it? And like I said, they're in for the banner and stuff like that.
But have you had players inbox you going like, "What the fuck?" Do you have any ones that can't take a joke? Maybe you don't want to name them, but do you have any that just that can't cop a bit of a laugh?
Oh yeah, there's a couple, and so I just stopped joking about them. Just leave them out of it. And
yeah.
You hear about some players, and they come out and speak about mental health and things like that. We steer very clear of that. The thing is, you make a joke, you think it's funny, and a lot of other people think it's funny. The player mightn't. And if they come in and inbox us, I'm more than happy to post up an apology, like I said. I had one player come out and bag me out about something. I inboxed him and said, look, I took it down, apologised, and I said, if there's something you want me to promote through the page, a cause that you're after or whatever, just send me a link and I'm happy to post it up. We don't know every single player what they're about or what they're going through or anything like that. We all love a bit of banter, and sometimes it can go too far. Unfortunately, it does take someone to speak up and say that's too far, and we'll either defend it to a point where because we believe it's right. If that player has a big issue with it, if they see it, they can let us know.
From an entire media thing, probably a good example of that is Dugan last year. It took him almost, he broke down in a presser. All I get reported for is the bad shit that I apparently do, but people don't see all the good things. So I do think, obviously, I'm the only one here that doesn't run a podcast or a page or whatever. But at Old NRL Memes page, which has gone to what you do, some of the stuff he would put up, like and hats off to MG for me for saying, you know what, fuck you, see you later, like that's not on. Because literally from what he posted from when he was around, there were so many things on that were illegal, and because he thought he was anonymous, he would just post and get away with it.
Yeah, yep.
He must have been a bit of a dim-witted cunt. Like, was he kind of stupid? I got that vibe, like, because his comedy wasn't exactly hilarious or that well thought out, and his sort of assumption that he was somehow anonymous or that he couldn't get in shit from Facebook, I found to be kind of surprising. That he just didn't realise that obviously that's not, like, you can get in trouble for just saying shit about people.
He was trying to hide behind parody for a while there, but what he was doing was not parody.
No.
I'll give you an example of how fucking dumb he was, right? He's probably in a dark room in a dark corner somewhere in the arse shaking. This is how dim-witted he was. So he posted up our video and cropped out our logo and replaced it with his. So I sent him saying, can you just give us credit? All I want is credit. Nah. He did it again, and I sent him a takedown notice through Facebook. He then replied to me saying, I'm affecting his livelihood by doing it.
Okay.
Right? He's using my content on his
and
page,
you're affecting
and
his
I'm
livelihood.
affecting
What
his
sort of
livelihood.
money is he making off that, though? Really, like, he had
I don't
responsible
know.
like fake IDs or some shit, wasn't he?
Yeah, the fake IDs website, man, that was weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't see much money in Facebook posts. Like, if so, someone point me in the fucking direction. I'll take it.
Yeah, right.
But yeah,
Anyway, maybe we're giving him too much fucking attention.
I think so. Well, let's move on. So, NRL came out this week. I believe Aaron's got more on this, but maybe to deflect a bit of the attention, the negative attention on them, moving to a wild card round in 2020, or they want to get the fans' feedback. A wild card round in 2020 where 7th and 8th final spots not guaranteed at the end of the regular season. They will play off against 9th and 10th to finalise those spots, meaning the top 6 will get the first week off and then they'll go back to the traditional top 8 finals. What do we think about this, boys? Aaron, you're up first, mate. You're pretty vocal about this.
Yeah, it was very near and dear to my heart, Dean. I love the NFL. I love the NBA. And this falls right in the NFL's wheelhouse. It's just rugby league. So there's 16 teams, right? And you want to have 10 have a chance at making the grand final. The rhetoric is that, you know, it's rewarding mediocrity. It absolutely is for a start. And it's just a cash grab. And I even had my tinfoil hat on for a bit, saying that it's deflecting away from the whole sex tape and the whole scandal crisis situation. Good time to release it, actually. Good PR move, because people talked about this for half the week anyway. So I'm not a big fan of the wildcard weekend. I get that, you know, it's for the fans. People would, you know, watch the games. TV viewership would go through the roof. People would go to the games. I just think the top 8 works. It works so well. Like, let's just leave it at that.
Any of you boys?
So,
yeah, go, Tom.
Sorry, just on the back of what you're saying now. So, like, of all the things you went through there, where you're like, the games we watched, more people will go to the, like, bigger crowds. You know, there's more excitement, whether it's more advertising revenue. What the only downside I see is that you give a couple of shit teams a chance, in theory, to still make the grand final. But if they're shit teams, they're not going to make it, realistically. Or you get to see some run where, like, someone's able to pull something out of their ass and go from 10th to win the grand final, which, again, like, no one outside the top 4 has won it since the NRL started. Is that correct? Someone can do the research for me there. But, like, so I'm sort of on the side of going, like, you know what? If it makes a couple of these games towards the end of the season a little bit more enjoyable, give the Raiders a chance to make in the finals for a change. Not that I'm a fan of them, but, you know, they're like one of those teams that are just perennially stuck around there. Like, I'm into it.
Yeah, well, I don't see how it rewards mediocrity, because for me, is there that much difference between a team that's come 10th and a team that's come 7th? Maybe 4 to 6 points most seasons. What it does is it rewards the top 6 teams, as it should. So your side is pushing top 6 finish. But when it does get into that 7th to 10th spot, it makes the competition closer. For me, it means it's more exciting. So playing, obviously, other teams higher in the ladder, then I'll be like, oh, this is kind of fucked up. But if it's 10th playing 7th, 8th playing 9th, is there that much difference between those 4 teams?
And also you've got like, just 11th and 12th playing off for 10th and 9th as well. Like, it just makes it exciting. It thickens it up the whole way down.
Why stop at 12? Why not just have all 16 teams in the finals?
Mate, as a Newcastle fan, I wish that was the case for a long time.
Parramatta, Manly, and the Bulldogs from the last few years are all cheering that concept.
Absolutely.
Why stop there? Why can't the Queensland Cup teams go in the finals as well? Why can't New South Wales Cup teams go in too? Let's just get everyone. Rugby Union, maybe we get Super Rugby in the NRL finals.
Yeah, get the Waratahs in there.
I agree. Like, you don't want a team finishing 9th and 10th, a possibility of making the finals. But I agree some points that I don't agree totally that it's rewarding mediocrity. I believe 7th and 8th now, it's sort of punishing them. They spend 24 games during the season to get that spot, and it can be all taken away in one game. So that's a pro and a con. I'm a bit on the fence. I can see the pros and cons. I think it's a bit of a gimmick, but fuck, there's a lot of gimmicks in rugby league, isn't there? Like, the whole final system is really a gimmick in itself, isn't it? Like, they used to have the first past the post, and then they brought in top 5, and then top 8, top 10, back to top 8. And I think I did the stats. So only 4 teams with a winning record over the past 20 years since they've had the top 8. Only 4 teams in that 8th spot have finished with a winning record, and I think from memory, only 2 teams have made the grand final from 8th, and that was Parramatta in 09 and Cowboys in 17. So
positions 9 and 10 invariably have a losing record. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I didn't look into that.
Isn't that worse than mediocrity then? Isn't that rewarding losing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you not say though? Then, like, if you were to get to the grand final from there as clearly as like seasonal losers, where you haven't done very well. But imagine if you went from 10th and then you've won the playoff game, then you're in the top 8, and then you just knock down. You've really got to be quite exemplary in that finals moment to pull something like that off. Whilst you are, you've done fuck all to get there. Like, to actually make it worth your while, to actually take advantage of that opportunity, you can't be mediocre. Yeah,
that's all valid points. I mean, you can do it from 8th right now. You can do it from 8th this season.
Yeah.
They're not going to do it. I'm not against innovation. I'm not against big ideas. I'm actually the other way. I just don't think this is fleshed out quite as well as it could be. I'm not a fan of extending the season another week either. It's already long enough, and that's where I fall on it.
I think we'll go, we put up a poll during the week. I think it was 64-36 against. So all the talk on social media has been, that was about 3,000 people too. Pretty much everything on Twitter. I posted up saying about the stat about only 4 teams having a winning record in 8th in the last 20 years. I got hammered for it, so and I was simply pointing out a stat. But we'll go to one of the comments here, actually. William Clementu. They're probably better off doing a final series for the bottom 8 participation award generation. So we'll leave it on that.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got the shitfire that is the Penrith Panthers at the moment. Look, released over the last couple of weeks or last week is some videos that I don't think anyone really wants to see. It's you're curious, but it's not something that with the girls not wanting to be in the video or not wanting to be filmed or shared. I don't have any particular wanting to see them anyway. So, boys, what's your take on all this that's been happening? Do you know if they've found the guy? I know there's one player, I won't say his name, one player has been interviewed from another club in relation to these videos. Do you think it's just some player that wants to take it out on Panthers? Do you think it's someone that has it in for him? What's your take, Tom? We'll go to you first, mate.
Look, I mean, it seems like there's someone who's trying to sort of to screw someone over by releasing it. It seems like that because they're all coming out at the same time, or at least this off-season, while there's a buzz about. The videos themselves are fucking gross. I've seen them, and for anyone who's like, there's nothing wrong with group sex, right? That's all good. Live your life. But, like, when you see the way they're behaving in there, you're like, they're not getting off on they're getting off on being disrespectful sickos, and that's where that whole thing was just, like, really crook to look at. I mean, is someone leaking it? Maybe they are. Does it just kind of shine a light on this? Clearly there is something sort of fucked up culture there that not necessarily permeates the whole team, but a certain element of it. So I don't know who's putting it out there, but it's certainly showing a couple of these people for who they are, in my opinion.
Well, it sucks for the blokes that are doing the right thing. The people like Josh Mansell that comes out yesterday and is like, this is shit, I don't know what else to say. Isaiah Yeo came out today, who's part of their leadership group this year, and he was the same. And he smashed Tyrone May. He said, judgment, it's horrendous and stupid. He went on and on. Laurie Daly, you would have read today, came out and said, what did he say? I wouldn't want my son playing for Penrith, and I wouldn't want my daughter dating a Penrith player. Like, what sucks, it is 2, 3, maybe 4 idiots in a club of however many people that make a bad name for everyone else there.
I agree, it is only a few blokes in that one club, but if we look over the history of, like, the last, 15, 20 years, there's been, the Sharks are in one, the Sharks have been in one, the Warriors have been in one, the Dragons now in a group sex thing with Jack de Belin and another player. is it a footy thing? Is it a footy thing or is it a sport thing?
It's a sport thing because the way the AFL, and I'm not going to knock the AFL in this sense, but the way the AFL works and their relationship with media, with journalists, with newspapers, with TV, is a lot of these stories, and I'm not saying there's quite as many, but a lot of these stories get swept under the rug, whereas rugby league, and don't get me wrong, the idiots that are doing this deserve to be punished, but I always, when I see this stuff, I feel for the blokes that are doing the right thing because as it is with every sport, be it tennis, soccer, whatever, 99% of them are doing the right thing. It's a few wankers that ruin it for everyone else. And, of course, that's what we're speaking of right now is sex tapes, not what charity work Corey Norman's doing or, you know what I mean? It's the shit stuff that comes out.
Aaron, you want to chime in? Or Tom, no, you're looking eager.
Oh, well, I was just obviously it's not the majority of people, but just from the sentiment and what people have sort of been saying around it is like there's a shitload more videos out there. And to that end, you're sort of thinking that whilst it is a few, maybe well, obviously it's not the majority, it's still probably more pervasive than you think. It's still probably like more, it's probably, if there's that many more videos out there as is sort of led to be believed, the culture of sort of filming yourself doing weird shit and sending it to your mates seems like maybe it is a little bit more far spread than you know, just a couple of select few in one club or like, you know.
Yeah, but if the smartphones and whatever around 70s, 80s, 90s would have been even worse than it is now. And again, I'm not defending these players that are doing stupid shit. But at the end of the day, when they get full of grog and it is a pack mentality, I don't think it's necessarily a footy thing. Yes, they've got Cass out on the piss and doing whatever they want and then it goes to a stupid place. But it's a pack mentality more than it is a rugby league thing for me of it's the idiots that are doing this and filming it and then whoever's releasing it after that. And then the next problem for me is on the internet. And I know that's going to happen regardless, but it still frustrates me that someone like, why are you sending these videos to your mate? Like why does your mate want to see the Tyrone May video? I've got no interest in it. I still haven't seen it, but the screenshots have been sent through to us, whatever, but pretty fucked in the head to try and watch that stuff. There's a lot of porn on the internet, really good stuff, and I've watched some weird shit and got off to it. There's no need to be catching up the players' lives as well. You know what I mean?
We all have.
Yeah,
There's like,
don't king shame me, bro.
Yeah.
No, you're right. And I wasn't, just to reiterate, I wasn't saying that it's like a all footy player thing. I think it's more just like a societal thing. You're right, though, where, you know, groups of dickheads get together and do dumb shit. Not necessarily just rugby league players.
I've got a mate that just sends me nude karaoke and I just fucking get sick of it. I just have to throw my phone away.
Mate, that, you know, the Dylan Napa video, which, I mean, you may or may not have seen the second one with the shadow boxing.
Yep.
I hadn't seen that video yet, and I got a video from my mate who goes, dude, if you haven't seen the new Dylan Napa video, it looks heaps like this, and he just reenacted it with a mate. And so I'd only seen the reenacted version of Dylan Napa, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, what's going on here?
This guy's a footy player, so we can't show you his face. All right, Aaron, you want to have a last word on that, or?
You guys summed it up so perfectly. I have a little daughter now. It sort of hits close to home now. I don't like even thinking about it really. I wanted to spin it a little towards football talk actually. So Penrith and St George, whether you admit it or not, they're probably premiership heavyweights. How do you think it actually affects their campaign? These two huge storylines that are just dominating what they're trying to do as a football club.
I'm going to jump in. We'll go through each, eventually get through everyone who follows who. People who know me, I'm a Dragons fan. I think they're going to say it's not, but with Jack de Belin training, but all this shit that just keeps on. Now he's going back to challenge the ruling, and you know, if this drags out for a few more weeks and that's going to go to court, I think it is going to have an impact on the current players. They're going to be unsure, like, you know, is Jack going to be able to come back or not? They're going to get down about that, or I think all the press that's going to be on him is going to impact him fairly heavily. I don't know about you guys. I won't speak for Penrith, but
Yeah, I just on Penrith. The media scrutiny is at the moment on both those clubs is just hanging over both the clubs. You got to think it's got to impact them, their on-field performance.
Yeah, I reckon. So you go, Elliot.
Maybe to start the year, but these are professional sporting sides. Again, it's a couple of people. In Jack de Bellin's case, allegedly, the Tyrone Mays stuff, it's a couple of people that have potentially done the wrong thing. You can't tell me a professional sports team after 2 or 3 weeks is not going to be able to go, yes, it's a person that's not there or a couple of people that aren't there. But if the squad has the quality of the Panthers or the Dragons, I can't see either of them missing the 8 because of a couple of scandals.
Yeah, and also with the Panthers, the players that are out are not necessarily, you wouldn't class them as integral to the team's success. Tyrone May maybe a little bit more, but not the other 2 fellas. And then with the Dragons, obviously de Bellin's a massive loss, but if he's just not, like, say he's just stood down and he's not playing for the season, it hopefully will become a somewhat of a background issue in terms of there's not necessarily, unless people are just going like, how's Jack training? They're going to be like, yeah, he's going all right. Like, hopefully it's sort of, we'll be able to sort of, they'll be able to compartmentalize it and just sort of keep it to one side a little bit.
Yeah, I think more like, not more, my take on it is it's not going to affect them as in they'll probably still make the finals in regards to the Dragons and the Panthers, but it's going to affect, like, you know, maybe some wins or something like that. Maybe they get to the State of Origin period and they, you know, get a bit of a rest and they can put it all behind them and keep going. Like you said early on, Elliot, they might affect a few wins early on, but I think it may have some little impact. But we've had our first sledge too, boys.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Grant. 4 fat white guys.
Yeah. Well, this is the bloke's name. It's Grant John Claude Stallone.
Hi, Grant.
Yeah. And he said, NRL memes, better page than all 4 of these guys.
I don't have a page, so that's good.
Yeah.
Good
all
shout.
right, Grant
cool.
John Claude
Grant
Stallone. Yeah. Go do the splits and go box like Rocky, you fuckhead.
Is there any questions?
Yeah, if anyone's got any questions, post them up. We're sort of, I am following
4 experts.
Facebook. Great stuff, boys. Sorry, my boring meter went off. Cool.
Lovely.
Yep.
It's the aim.
So I just want to set the scene for the next one. So, what was it? Monday night. I'm laying in bed. It's a bit after 9:30.
Oh, jeez. Where are we going? The Kinkin meter's back again.
Yeah, this is boring meter. Yeah, it's just just laying in bed, you know, just watching a bit of Netflix. Hear the phone ring. I look at it. I don't know the number, so I just let it go. And 5 minutes later, I get a little ding. It's a message bank. So I don't know that number, so I'm just going to check this. And I press play, and this is what I hear.
Yeah, g'day, Dean. Mark Guy, mate. If I was you, I'd call me back straight away.
So yeah, the great man MG, giving me a call. I've never spoken to him. I've messaged him on Instagram. I've never spoken to him personally. Didn't have his number, obviously, and he rings me and says, "Better call me back soon."
How did he get your number?
I don't know, and I'm too scared to ask him. So, I just want to know. So, obviously, I was fucking shit myself to start off with. When I called him back and he told me what it was all about, so it was all good. But tell me, boys, what's your best or your worst interaction you've ever had with either a player, former player, celebrity? Give us a bit of a rundown. Who wants to go first?
I'll go. Probably 2 worst that fall under the footy. 1 footy player, 1 celeb. Aj Barker, who's the worst human being I've ever met in my entire life.
Wow.
Really?
And he is, like, famously known for any kind of media, radio, TV, that kind of thing, just being an absolute prick and just condescending. And my thing is, don't do an interview if you don't want to do it. He's right up there. As far as footy players went, I went to Broncos training in the 90s and I went with my grandpa and I was stoked. Like, I grew up a Newey fan, but I had a soft spot for the Broncos because he was involved with them and whatever. And went down to training and got to see everyone run around, which is unreal. And Mick Hancock, who was still playing on the wing at that stage, he was taking bombs, and I went behind sort of where they were training, and I called out to him a couple of times. I would have been 6. Called up, I was like, Mick, can I get your autograph? And he came over to me. I was so excited. He walked up to me, and I'll never forget it to say, he's like, mate, fuck off. And I was 6. I went over to my grandpa. Grandpa didn't believe me. He's like, yeah, sure he did. It's my first memory as a child was Mick Hancock, who, by the way, wasn't much taller than me as a 6-year-old.
Wow.
Right. I'll come back later. I think he retired at the end of that year.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Nick, what an asshole.
Yeah, what a dickhead.
Tom?
Best would have been Petro.
Tom.
Sorry, Petro 77, nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
Petro.
Petro.
Very humble.
My old man was playing a cricket game, and Mike Whitney was playing in it, former Australian cricketer, also host of Who Dares Wins. And I was I went into the sheds after the game to go and see my old man, and I'd never met Mike Whitney before, but I only knew him from Who Dares Wins. I was a young kid, and he was standing there naked in the showers, and I was like, "Oh fuck!" And he's just there, fully sobered himself, and I'm like, "G'day, Mike. How you doing, mate? I'm gonna get out of here, Dad. I don't know why'd you bring me in here? What the fuck's going on?" So it was Mike going, "G'day, young fella. How you doing?" I'm like, "What? Yeah."
Scarred for life.
No attempt to cover up. Just let it hang out.
Dude, I think he's used to the dressing sheds. That was the vibe I got. He was used to dressing sheds. He certainly wasn't trying to cover up for my benefit. He just was like he didn't bat an eyelid, and I'm like, all right, I'm out. I'm too young.
Do you suffer from PTSD every time you meet someone named Mike?
Every time Who Dares Wins comes on, I fucking have a panic attack.
Aaron.
Yeah. Very similar story to Elliot. I went to a Sheffield Shield game in the 90s. Ian Healy was playing, and I was about 7 years old. Walked up to him, asked for his autograph, and he didn't even look at me, and he just said, "No, mate." And he didn't swear at me, so he's not as bad a bloke as Michael Hancock, but he's up there.
Mate, Ian Healy handing out batting tips when he commentates cricket with a life average of about 25 is the same as us handing out football advice, right? Respect for that, man.
Yeah, me either.
Heels.
Hey,
That's so harsh,
rubbish,
though,
bloke.
dude. I mean, you don't realise when. I mean, I'm sure these athletes, most of the time, they're all fucking lovely to kids. But it's just like, just one if you're having a bad day and you're just like, look, no, mate, I can't do it. And it just scars you forever.
Yeah. He hadn't even batted yet. He was padded up, like getting ready to pad up to go out. I got Michael Kaspowitz's autograph, so it was a good day and all.
That's a win.
Yeah.
Bad.
Elliot, just shoot it back to you. You mentioned your grandpa earlier.
Yeah.
Do you want to just, because I know a bit about your grandfather and these other boys might, and the viewers might want to hear this story?
Yeah, his name was George Lovejoy, and he was, I suppose at the time, considered like one of the great rugby league callers. I've listened to a few of his tapes. He used to go on the Kangaroo Tour, stuff like that. He did a lot of the Queensland Cup. He coined the phrase "the greatest game of all."
Heck.
Yeah, way back when, and since then there was when he passed, which was 2003. I think it was still Lang Park then, Suncorp. They did a big plaque from everything, and like had the family and that down there. It was outstanding. But I suppose that's where my footy interest came through as a kid, because he was an old grumpy prick by the time I got to know him properly, but like I loved him for it, and he had this personality that was captivating. I don't know, many people watching now probably wouldn't have got the chance to hear him, maybe their dads or mums or whatever, but apparently he was a bit of a legend in the rugby league world, and he had so many stories. Like I wish, because when he passed I was only 12 or 13, like I wish to back and forth with him now. I wish we could get him on here.
For sure.
You'd probably have to see
George Lovejoy, was it?
George Lovejoy, yeah, with a G.
Has he got like? You're in the dark.
There we go.
Can you get his can you hear on YouTube or anything?
I don't think it's on YouTube. I got a couple of clips, but if you Google George Lovejoy, he comes up in images. He worked for 4BH in Brizzy. Was doing footy stuff out of there, like all his posters around. Actually, I'll see if I can hold up one of these posters to the camera. Is that? Let me find it. Where we go? So that was him. So yeah, 4BH used to call footy way back when, and then end up being a station manager there, and yeah, so that's sort of I suppose when my passion sparked through him, because the rest of my family doesn't really give a shit about it.
Was that just the Brisbane comp, or did he do down in Sydney at all? Or
So he did the Queensland Cup, because obviously when he was around, there wasn't the NRL wasn't a thing, anything like that. He went on the Kangaroos tours, but like what's cool, like I'm starting this weekend commentating the Northern Pride in the Queensland Cup, and they're playing against Redcliffe. Like he obviously the Pride went around when he was around calling, but the East, the Wynnum, they're all there and whatever. So to call the same comp is very full circle. But yeah, he was a pretty cool dude apparently.
What do you do to practice calling? Do you just go and watch games and just do it yourself? Do you have someone like critiquing you? Do you send it off to anyone?
Yeah, I have people that I work closely with at the station and outside of it that'll send stuff through. But it is as lame as, and we've all done it as kids or even now, where I'll throw the footy on mute and watch reruns and just call it as we go. My hardest problem at the moment is pronunciation. So I have it is in the commentating game that actually gets that right, because that's actually like you forget to watch the game because you're too busy on Whakatane and Politua and
Manawhanai.
Yeah, we'll be live on the Northern Pride page this Saturday, so feel free to sledge me like John Cludd Van Dam did before.
I want to make up a fake profile just to sledge you.
Yeah, go for it. NRL memes too.
Yeah. No, that's good, mate, and good luck. I'm sure it's
Thanks,
very, very exciting for you. So I knew the boys would appreciate that. So moving on, so we're going to go to some predictions. So I sent the boys earlier this week just some predictions who they think will be premiers. Wooden Spoon, Dally M, their Smoky team, and also Buy of the Year. So, boys, who wants to get critiqued first? Oh my God, okay, I'll go. So, where's mine? Here we go. All right, so I didn't send this to you guys, but I've got the premiers. I've got the Broncos. I've got Spoon, the Bulldogs. I've got Dally M, Luke Brooks. My Smoky team is the Tigers. And my Buy of the Year is from the Dragons, Corey Norman. Where did I fuck up, boys?
Broncos aren't winning the
Broncos.
Yeah. Luke Brooks is not getting the Dally M.
The Broncos to me are an experienced half away from winning the comp. I would love to see them go in the market for a Blake Green or a Chad Townsend, someone that won't cost them that much, but just someone to steer the ship. You can't tell me Nikorima and Milford, who, don't get me wrong, on their day, fantastic players, but for me, aren't there for the Broncos to win the comp this year. You feel free to record this. I'll eat my hat at the end of the season, but I can't see it happening.
No way.
I don't know. I think I like Anthony Seibold. I really do. I like what he did with. Yeah, I think he can just give him that extra boost this year. But Luke Brooks,
Jack Bird will be a good one to watch too.
Yeah, he will be. Yeah, hopefully if he stays fit and.
Yeah, what's your Luke Brooks case?
Thank you. Good question. Make that case for us.
He finished on 26 Dally M points last year. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck finished on 29. So he's now got Michael Maguire. That's my only. I think he'll do 3 points. I think he'll do 3 points better this year. So
I think if Little starts at 9, he'll go close. I think if Farah starts at 9, he won't go anywhere near.
Yep.
Fair call.
That's fair. That's fair.
And sort of have one you could probably critique me about is the Buy of the Year, Corey Norman. Obviously, being a Dragons fan, I'll be watching him fairly heavily. I watched him in the trials, and I think he'll just a bit less pressure, I suppose, than what was at the Eels, and I just think he'll step up. And he hasn't been. It wasn't too bad last year, like a very ordinary team. And 2016 he missed out on the Dally M, like from suspension. So. Look, that's my Buy of the Year critique.
I agree with you I've got Corey Norman as my Buy of the Year as well. I think when I sent it to you, I might have had Clemmer, but I was thinking about it, and I think Clemmer's sick as well. But Corey Norman could be behind, like he's mature now, and behind a legit forward pack for the first time in a while, and he's got the skills. So I'm looking forward to seeing him play. I reckon he could be good.
There are
he looks fit. He looks really fit. Like he's in the best shape I think I've seen him in his whole career.
They still give him shit about his dad bod, but But
yeah,
no,
which
but-
fucking makes me furious when I then look
I
at
know,
myself
'cause
in
I
the
look at
mirror
him-
and I'm like, can we stop calling this guy a dad bod? This is bullshit. This is body shame. It's unrealistic expectation.
I'm 4 times the size of fucking Corey Norman. You know.
And still I don't consider myself a dad bod. You
Yeah,
know what I
correct,
mean?
yeah.
We're the real dad bods out there.
We'll go to
Bullshit.
you. We'll go to you, Tom. We've got yours up. So go for
I've
it.
got the Sharks as premiers. I know there's a shitload going on there, but I just feel like we're talking about, Elliot was talking about sort of composed halves. You've got Chad Townsend there who's done it before. You're bringing in someone like Johnson from a system like the Warriors, which just seems fucking chaotic. I don't know why. It just always has been. Into this system that's already got structure that's been built. It's been built by Flanagan. The backs are sick. The forwards are sick. And in a team that's largely made up of winners who have either won comps with the Sharks or they've won them in other places or played in big games. And I just think him now not having to be the only big dick swinger in the team, he's now able to sort of just be one of many dicks. And, I think it'll help his game. If that sort of, I mean, I probably didn't need to put so many cock references in there, but that's the way it came out. So yeah, that's my that's
I like
Premier.
Sharks. I think they're top 4. I have them on top 4.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I certainly don't think they're going to be as fussed with their off-field bullshit as the other clubs. You got Fafita and Gallen still doing the thing. I reckon they'll be good.
What do you think about...
Dally M, I've got. Oh, sorry. What are you saying?
Just real quickly on John Morris. What do you think of him as a first-year coach dealing with those, like the names that you just said, Fafita and Gallen and stuff like that? I know Gallen's the leader.
That's
Some
the
big
question.
personalities.
That's
Yeah,
a
like-
question mark.
Shane Flanagan, obviously a very good man manager and very well respected within just the Sharks, I think. But how does he deal with? Obviously, he played with a lot of these guys. Well, not a lot of these guys, like 2 or 3 of these guys. Is this like Nathan Brown at the Dragons years ago?
Could be. Nathan Brown's sort of become a bit of a cautionary tale, though, hasn't he, of the young coach and probably how not to do it. Like, don't slap Trent Barrett. But, but I mean, look, if there's any chink in their armor, it's certainly that. But you wonder whether you've got the maturity of Gallen there. Fafita seems like he's really tight with Morris. So, I mean, maybe that'll make it difficult if Morris has got to pull him into line, or maybe that puts Fafita in a mindset of going, I've got to lead a little bit more here, and maybe he'll thrive in that. I don't know. It's hard to tell with Fafita, isn't it? He's a bit all over the shop. But when he's on, he's on.
Judging by that haircut, though, I don't know.
The mullet's back, man. The mullet's back.
Him and Dugan are sporting the same sort of similar haircut too, aren't they?
Well, they've stolen it off Mahe Fanua, and I think he's dirty about it.
All right, we'll touch quickly on your Spooners, the Bulldogs, Dally M.
Spoons, Dogs, Dally M, Ponga, Smokey, the Knights.
And the buy of the year is a toss-up between Corey Norman
Well,
and Dave
by the
Clemmer.
year I went Norman. I had Clemmer down there, but then I changed to Norman.
Yep.
So apologies for the graphics there. I fucked that up.
Fuck, I can't even get the sound right. What do you expect me to get the graphics right?
That's the least of our worries.
We'll go Aaron. Aaron, you're up, mate. Your premiers.
Roosters might be a bit of a cop out, but I think they can do it again. Dally M. Oh, Widdop. How do we feel about Widdop?
I'm not mad at that. I like it.
Again, he's been there the last couple of years, isn't he? Injuries sort of robbed him of a few points each year, and he's always up there. If the Dragons are doing good, he's sort of leading the charge. So
Yeah, that's why I thought the Dragons would be good, and he'd just play in behind them perfectly. Wooden Spoon, I think we're all in agreement with the Bulldogs, aren't we?
I think except for Elliot, I think he's gone someone different.
Yeah, I got him bottom 4, but not the Spooners.
Yeah,
I think that young Lockie Lewis is going to be a star. I think he's too gritty to let him lose that many games to get the spoon.
The rest of the team's bad, but anyway. By the year, I had Clemmer, and I've written Ferguson in next to it, but I'm sticking with Clemmer. What are they paying Ferguson? I think they've paid too much for a winger, probably. But anyway,
$750, or have I made that up?
Yeah,
No, it's
I'll
around
stick
that.
with Clemmer for buy of the year.
Yeah.
And Smokey, West Tigers. I think, new coach. They should go real well. West Tigers.
Yep.
I don't know about the Tigers if I can just... and I mean, maybe this is just because I haven't looked over their team recently, but I mean, they just don't seem to have maybe the strike power out wide. Is that fair to say? Is that unfair to say? In terms of their, you know, like they brought in Robert Jennings to pick up. Otherwise, I feel like they're sort of their other backs are sort of like almost.
Masters is almost the best centre in the comp at the moment.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, he's pretty good.
Is it?
I would say, if anything, maybe it's the pack, but their pack showed last year they can defend. I think they'll be okay if they can work out who needs to play 6 for them. Because obviously Brooks is settled. Benji in the trials has been, if Josh Reynolds refines any kind of 2013, 14, even 15 form, I think they can make the 8.
Tom, do you know a Mitchell Kelly? Because he's come on saying, Tom, you one-eyed Knights supporter.
No, I don't know Mitchell, and I'm a Manly fan.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's got that absolutely fucking wrong.
Oh, dear.
No, so yeah. What's up, Mitch?
Yeah. Elliot, you're up, mate, so go for your premiers.
That's fan, but I don't have us as premiers. I've gone the same as you, Aaron. I see the Roosters winning it again. I'm Madison, Dylan Napa, who I have as my buy of the year, Angus Crichton, who is just going to be an absolute superstar. Even that try they played on the weekend, the holes he runs, top 3 second rower in the game at the moment for me. He's one of the first players I pick on my team. And for them to add that to an already premiership winning team, to a team that he supported growing up, you can't tell me his footy's going to get any worse. I'm losing the competition this year again. Dally M only because I went at him at 36-1 on Sportsbet a couple of months ago. Sean Johnson.
Was he 36-1 for the Dally M?
I know what he's paying now, sorry boys, but he was 36-1 when I jumped on.
You loaded up on him.
Yeah, $5. No, I just think he's settled. He's finally in a structure that he needs. John Morris, we talked about him before, is going to play player manager. He's played with Townsend before. They're clearly good mates. I think we're going to see his best footy this year. I could see him winning. I could see him winning it easily too.
You're right.
Wooden Spoon, I went the Raiders. I just don't think Whiten's a 6. And if he's injured, if C's out at any stage, Sam Williams, he's a good Resi's player, but he's not a first grader.
How many chances has Sam Williams had in the top grade? No offense, Sam, if you're watching.
No.
He seems like he's had a fuckload of cracks.
He's definitely watching too, so.
Yeah, I know. Well, this is the sort of thing he'd be watching on a Thursday.
Excuse me, they've got a new fullback. Sorry, I can't remember the bloke's name because I thought Brad Abbey was going to play one. They've got that guy with 2 names. I can't remember.
Nicole Klogstad or something?
I like to see how he goes. I've seen a bit of his stuff. He's not bad. That forward pack, the sides, maybe Papali and Tarpany doesn't have the bite it used to, and Hodgson is not 100% fit. So I can't see them getting out of the bottom this year. I've been smoking meth or something.
Yeah. I was talking to someone on Sunday, and they said there's this conspiracy thing around players coming back from an ACL.
Yeah.
And they come the second year when they come back, they recapture that form. He's right on that. Like, he's not exactly 2 years, but it will hit 2 years during the year. So, do you think he's going to recapture some of that form?
Which player are we talking about here?
Josh Hodgson, sorry.
Oh, Hodgson. I rate him. I think everyone rates him, but yeah I'm excited to see how he goes. He's got Mick Ennis down there as well. Surely that couldn't hurt.
What was the stat, Dean?
Players coming back from an ACL, it's always their second year back is when they strength. They get their strength back.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
unless you're one of the Stanley brothers.
Too soon.
No, they better. Well, even Tauta Moga at Newcastle.
Exactly, man. He's on 4 of the motherfuckers. Like, what do they do with the AFL?
Yeah. Last one, I have my smoky of the year is the Warriors, which I know anyone that supports NRL is going to say no because they're the most inconsistent team there is. However, you don't know with them. And I just see Blake Green outside, maybe a new half. That Adam Kieran, so he came up through the Panthers. superstar, as is Harris Tavita, the start because he can kick. Luke at 9 for now. They've got a bloke from the Titans, Carl Lawton, who's a pretty handy 9 as well. That pack hasn't lost a lot besides, I think, Gave. Obviously, he went to the Knights. They have the best wingers in the comp. Their backline's very strong. I just it has to, and this is because I want it to for the Warriors fans. I could see them again sneak into the 8 this year.
They're toss the coin, aren't they? So they've got the talent, but they just sort of fuck knows.
A couple of comments, boys. So just on yours, Elliot, from Big Nafe. Nafe said, Raiders for the spoon. Come on, you've got to be joking. And William Clementu, again, he's put up a couple of good ones. He said, Dally M, he's thrown up Jermaine Asako. And
playing on the wing?
Yeah.
As Boyd stays at 1.
Big call. His buy of the year is Josh Maguire.
Oh, that's a good shout too.
Yeah.
That Cowboys pack is unreal.
Yeah.
If McLean stays fit, Maguire stays fit. The only thing is because Tamalolo is he going to the left edge? I can't remember, but he won't be playing in the centre of the field as much. Be interesting, especially for Supercoach fans. Josh Maguire is a great get for them.
Yep. So that's it, boys. That wraps up the show, the debut. I think we'll get rated later on. But next week, if anyone's still watching, you can join us here at 9 o'clock. We'll go live while the footy's on. We're going to have the footy score in the bottom corner of the screen. We're going to be following along, having a bit of a chat. We'll work out what we're going to talk about during the week and watch the footy at the same time. Tom, you can find him on all socials. Is that right, Tom?
Dude, to be honest, just go to Instagram at Hello Sport Podcast. I don't fuck around with Twitter and Facebook. And I do Facebook, but it's just not. Just go at Hello Sport Podcast on Instagram.
Is Instagram? It's just taken over, isn't it? Is it the
Twitter's great?
Yeah, Twitter's good for chat. Yeah,
Twitter's good for
Twitter.
I use Twitter a lot to go look at other shit, but in terms of personally tweeting, I just can't. It's just another thing. So I just do Instagram with photos. Much more simple mind. Just without words.
And you keep the photos PG too.
Absolutely PG. Always.
But your
Mike
podcast.
Whitney shots.
No. Your podcast. I see you've dropped 2 this week, but it's normally just weekly. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. We had Nick Phipps, the Wallabies halfback, on, and then we just like me and Eddie, we talk a lot of shit about sport. It's funny, I think, if you listen to it. But we had Phipps on, so we did 2 this week. Next week we got the dude who won the Sydney to Hobart. And he's a mad bastard. He's our age, and he's just a piss-cutting psycho, and he's just got some cool stories. So we're going to have him. We're talking to him tomorrow.
Nice.
And we're trying to get Kurtley Beale on. If you're watching, Kurtley, reach out, please.
Again, I believe he's definitely watching.
Him and Sam Williams.
Yeah, I think they're watching together. With,
dude, perfect.
With Corey Norman and someone else in another room. Aaron, at the Unsportsman, mate, you're on all the socials?
Yeah, the _unsportsman. Got a pod, Australian sports, world sports. Go take a listen. Give us a 5-star review. That'd be good.
And they've had me on a guest, which means they will take anyone. So,
absolutely anyone.
Old mate John Claude Stallone, he should jump on your pod. He'd be a good guest.
Even we're above him, so
yeah.
He's not coming on.
And Elliot, mate, tell us a bit about where we can find you.
Yeah, we're just you can stream our show up here in Triple M Cairns. We're on every morning, or you can just find me on Instagram. I can barely log into Twitter or Facebook. Just search Elliot Lovejoy, and I'm sure there can't be too many of them floating around.
Slip into his DMs, everyone.
So, I mainly get Russian prostitutes, so if you could mix that up, it would be good. And my missus is asking a lot of questions at the moment. So,
all right, boys. Thanks for the show. I think we did okay. I had fun. I hope you did too. And to everyone watching and whoever commented, thanks very much. We'll see you next week at 9 o'clock. Cheers, boys.
Sweet. Catch you.